Hi friends, welcome to the Mastermind Moments podcast.
Hosted by your pals, Josh and Sasha.
Join us during our weekly mastermind as we collaborate on how to make the most out of our lives.
Not only are we going to mastermind our careers, we're going to work on all areas of life together.
Let's do it. Listen in as we make the most of our mastermind moments.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Hi. I'm not great today. Personally, I'm doing great, but for anyone listening, we are not posting these in real time. But in the US, elections were yesterday and the results came out today. And it's not great. What I was really upset about this morning is my right to choose over my own body in the state where I live is not there. I am not able to have the right over my own body.
So this was alongside the election. They were voting to what? Abolish the abortion law or introduce?
Yeah, so basically when they overturned Roe v. Wade in the federal court, so in the court that does the whole country, they brought it to the states. So each state gets to decide what they want to do. For Florida, it was on the ballot for 10 states, including Florida. I live in Miami, Florida. And it had to, basically right now there's a 6-week abortion ban. So if a woman does not get an abortion within 6 weeks, they cannot get one in Florida, or honestly a lot of states. So if I, God forbid, got pregnant, and I'm also not on birth control, I want to note that too. Like I'm a advocate for someone syncing up to their natural cycle. I went off the pill a year and a half ago, 2 years ago at this point. So God forbid I get pregnant, I have to, if I don't find out within 6 weeks, which most women don't find out within 6 weeks. I mean, they can, but sometimes like they're skipping whatever. I have to fly to a different state to get an abortion. And that's pretty upsetting. Like living in a place where you're treated like a second-class citizen, to not have the right to choose over your own body is really upsetting.
That's insane. It just feels so third world. It just doesn't feel like it's anything that should happen in a developed, well, in any nation, of course, but especially a developed country like the US. It's just insane to me. Absolutely insane.
Yeah, it feels like regression a little bit. Actually, a lot. It feels, I mean, literally, we're going back to what happened in 2016. That was a little bit, I mean, that was a different situation, right? Because that was, I mean, there was other stuff on the ballot, but that was like presidential. And even then it felt eerie. I was in New York at the time, and I just remember the energy of the city was weird after, like just down and awful after Trump got elected last time. And this time I'm in Florida, and honestly, everyone I've talked to here, everyone voted for Trump. Like it's a red state.
Isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it used to be a swing state, which was interesting,
really?
but
Okay.
yeah, I don't know when we became red, but I know we used to be a swing state, and I just moved here 2 years ago. So this is my first time voting in a presidential election here. But you know, the presidential election it's determined by the electoral college system, which is, I believe, is outdated, but what I was really concerned about was the right to have an abortion or the right to choose, and I don't no longer have that. Women in Florida do not have that. But the crazy part is when you actually look at the voting, 57% voted yes to give women the right to choose. There is I don't know what law or rule it is, but you have to reach 60% to overturn something like that on this ballot.
So a clear majority voted
Yeah.
for pro-choice and
Yeah.
wow.
And for legalizing weed. Yeah.
Wow.
Over 50%. And because it didn't reach 60%.
I mean, that's
yeah,
crazy.
so-
I mean, in the UK, obviously, our big controversy over the last few years, however many years, has been Brexit. I don't know how much you know about it, but obviously we voted to leave the EU. But the result of that vote was 52% of the country voted to leave and 48% voted to remain. I think in circumstances like that, it's such a tiny majority that voted to leave. And I guess it's contentious at that point a little bit. Still a majority, but it's tight. 57% is clear. It's way above the sort of halfway mark. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That just doesn't feel democratic. It doesn't feel right.
No. And it's, I don't know, we pride ourselves on being a a free country, right? And having freedom, but when the system is designed in a way to make it very difficult for people to make choices and to have the majority who's voting to win, it just doesn't seem like a democracy. And that is just, it's really messed up. And honestly, it's really scary. This abortion ban impacts me specifically, as a woman not on birth control, like it's really scary.
Of course.
And I have the financial means to fly out to the Northeast to get an abortion if I need to, but what about all the women who can't?
And what happens if you do? I mean, is that allowed? Is that legal?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Or my parents would have to overnight me an abortion pill, basically. But yeah, it's allowed. And there's a lot of stories out there about women who are they call abortion deserts, where basically there is nowhere to go to get one in all the surrounding states. So they'll have to fly somewhere. But like for me, I'm in a 20 something. I'm in a position to be able to pay for a flight to go somewhere. But what about the teenager who was raped? What about the, like mother who has children who needs childcare? Like these people don't have the ability to do that. So it's really upsetting, as it's a really sad day for women today, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In many ways. Yeah.
I think so. So personally, outside of this, if you were to ask me yesterday how I was doing, I would have said great. Things in my life are going great. Just things in the general situation in the US is not. The presidential stuff, I'm not going to get into that. It's more it's the abortion ban that really got me this election. And to be honest with you, that's the entire Paul called me a one issue voter this election. And it truly was a one issue voter this election, because there was one issue that stood out to all the other ones.
Yeah.
Here we are.
And who was it pushing for that? It's the Republicans obviously pushing for that, but it's DeSantis, is it? That's his name?
Yeah.
And he's still the governor.
It's messy. And for anyone out there listening who might relate or need support or anything, I'm with you, and we're here with you, and it really fucking sucks.
Yeah, it does. I mean, I know my little sister, she is very emotionally involved in these things, and she lived in the US, in Florida actually, for a year when she was a teenager, when she was 13, and she has lots of friends out there. And this morning my mum texted me, or my mum called me and said, just be very careful with Cheska, who's my sister, be very careful with her. She's just been crying all morning. It feels like such a defeat for the Western world in general. It's not just a US thing. It feels like such a defeat for women in the Western world, I think. It's just, as you said, it's a regression. It's a massive backward step. Not even just to 2016, but you're talking 100 years. I mean, it just feels like we are going backwards in so many ways. It's really awful.
Yeah. The only thing that gives me somewhat hope is if you look at the history of America. Once we left you guys and we made our own thing, if you look at the history over time, we do lean more to innovate, to evolve. Over time, we do that. But for me, I'm doing my best right now to picture it as a stock. A stock that you would see go up and down, but over time, the trend line is up, but maybe there are dips. So that's the way I'm trying to picture it right now. But to be honest with you, I feel pretty defeated right now, and I'm really upset about what's happening. And yeah, it's awful. But without further ado, let's not talk about politics the whole time. That is not the point of this podcast. The point of this podcast is to mastermind our own lives, and obviously where you live and your physical environment is a huge part of that. And that includes the country you live in. And this is the country I live in. I was born in this country. I'm very fortunate to be in the position I'm in. But today we lost. We lost some rights, and that's really upsetting. But without further ado, let's spin a wheel. And We have love today. How do you nurture and strengthen your relationship on an everyday basis?
I think for me, that's all about putting maximum effort in and showing up every single day as not only the best version of myself, but the best version of who I can be for my partner and for those around me. If we're talking just about relationship, that for me, and I wrote down a list of this in my little manifesto about how I can improve my relationship, my love life, and it involves flirting. Something as simple as flirting, which I think when you've been with someone for a while, maybe that can go amiss. You get too comfortable with them and you revert back to just it becomes more like a friendly atmosphere. So I think
Yeah.
it's really important to maintain that constant flirting, buying gifts as well. I mean, for my girlfriend, one of her top love languages, actually not one of, by far number one, is gifts. And so I think it's really important for me to be buying gifts for her and to really spoiling her and making her feel that love that way. And if you're talking about not just intimate romantic relationships, and we're talking about friends, family, it's just about showing up every day and being there and existing in their lives and not disappearing and making sure that you maintain that relationship and that sort of spark, as I say, whether it's from a friend's perspective, romantic perspective, or a family perspective, that it just never dies down.
Yeah. It's definitely putting in consistent effort, even out over time. I'd say for me, in my romantic relationship, just the small things I do every day that make a big difference is I manage dinner every day, which is, I know it doesn't sound like a big thing, but in our relationship, it truly is because Paul's and my, both of our, it's not an actual like one of the five love languages, but one of the love languages that, one of the ways that we both feel love very deeply is when someone prepares food for us. Paul and I have the exact same thing. Both of our moms like always, my mom didn't really make dinner per se. I mean, she did sometimes, right? But we were a takeout family for sure. But even when she did, like, she would cook or she would like get takeout or whatever, and his mom would cook dinner every night. So for someone like preparing food for us is a big thing. And I don't really like cooking at all. I don't really like preparing meals. It's not something I enjoy per se. If there's sometimes give me breakfast, snacks, or dessert, and I will make it happily. But for some reason, like dinners, just I'm like I don't like doing it per se. But I find joy in how much joy it brings Paul. And it is something that he cares about a lot. And I know that little thing of me even just heating up food and putting it on a plate for both of us at dinner time makes a world of a difference with him. It's just like one small thing that makes a really big difference. And also, we got the We're Not Really Strangers, not the couple edition, but it's this new edition where I think it's a 365 edition where we answer a question every day, which is something that he does for me because I'm a words of affirmation person. I mean, we're both physical touch people, which is we always get our cuddle time in the morning and the evenings. It's like definitely the best part of every day is the very beginning and very end, but that's for both of us. But for him, it's the dinner. For me, it's the questions. And I get one question every day, and it's really helpful to fill that words of affirmation need for me because we used to have the regular couples edition. I actually gifted it to Katie and Jeff because I was like, we never play this because it was always pulling teeth being like, do you want to play this game with me? And he's not a words of affirmation person at all, so it was always challenging. But this is very approachable for him because it's one question every day. So yeah, just some tangible examples. I mean, I think it's very clear, like getting to know your partner's love languages and doing what you can to finding joy and lighting them up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, playing into their love languages and making sure that is what you play into. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, completely. So, meat of the episode, what's happening for you this week? What's going well? What's not going well?
What's going well? I'd say there's quite a few things going well. I don't know why I had to think so hard about that. I feel like there is actually a lot of good things going on right now. I think my mental health has been pretty good, to be honest. It's been a good week. I went away to Italy for a few days and it was just really nice to every time I do a trip like that where I spend more time just outside of the big city and with nature. And we were staying at my mum's place, which is literally on Lake Lugano, which is so beautiful. And I just feel like so calm and peaceful. And I come back feeling so revitalized and ready to take on the world. And I'm in this accountability group chat. The whole thing is like a kind of physical fitness thing, but we're holding each other accountable for a whole host of things. And I said to them, I've been slacking. I admitted it. I was like, I haven't been doing my 50 push-ups a day, which is what they've been challenging each other to. I haven't really been very active in that group chat. And I said, I'm going to come back from this trip a machine. I promise you. And I came back feeling so just ready to take on the world, ready to do 100 push-ups a day. So I think mental health-wise, doing really well.
I also want to note that this happened after your hiking trip too.
It did. It did.
Yeah, same exact thing happened like when we talked right after your
It
hiking
happened
trip.
off the hiking trip. It happened after I went to Monaco a couple of weeks ago. It is very clear to me, to everyone, I think, what makes me tick, which is adventure, travel, and actually on the mental health thing, I completely forgot about this. I started reading a book. I forget the name of it off the top of my head, but it's by TJ Woodward, who is he's like a sort of spiritual awakening coach. And I was reading it I literally, before I went to Italy, I was looking at my bookshelf and I was like, what book can I take that I haven't really touched on? And I was looking through all of my books. I've got a lot of them just hanging there that I haven't touched. And there was this one book that just called out to me, and it was that book, and I decided to take it with me. And I only ended up reading about 30 pages. I'm a very slow reader, as I think we've discussed before. And this quote came out, or this sort of passage came out, which was really, it just summed me up to a T. And the whole book is about how you can awaken yourself and live as your truest form of love, of self, of not letting anything bother you, just being unmovable, unshakable. And there was this one passage, I'll read it to you now, I've just got it up on my phone. We show love by being conscious of the words and actions we use to respond to life in the present moment. If we are not awake enough to consciously choose our response, an unconscious or automatic response based on our past conditioning will emerge and dictate the conditions of our lives. Now, what was so fascinating about this is that this is me, and this has been a huge thing for me over the last, throughout my whole life pretty much. But since I can remember, and especially recently with the whole incident that happened with the community that I've been axed from, I get into these difficult situations, these uncomfortable situations, and I just have this subconscious response, and I go into kind of almost like a self-defense mode where my brain just screams, and I have no control over it. I lose complete control, and I end up saying things I don't mean. I end up saying and doing really hurtful, nasty things, and it's because I lose control. And it's this subconscious or unconscious reaction that is based on past conditioning. And if I was in a position with my brain where I was able to, in those situations, take a step back, breathe for a moment, and wait before replying, and just taking a step back, I would never get into these difficult positions. I wouldn't be banned from the community. I wouldn't be in any of these difficult situations, right? And it's shown up so many times in my life, so many times. And so reading that, I was reading it, I was like, wow, that is me, unfortunately. And clearly I'm not awakened yet, so there is a lot of work to do. Again, I think I know what I need to do to get there, and it's a lot of meditation, a lot of self-work, which I haven't been doing recently. But it was really interesting to read that, and it made me feel that it's not that there's something wrong with me, it's that I have this conditioning as a kind of trauma response, and that plays into the whole BPD thing. So it was really interesting to read that, and it really spoke to me. I feel like there is something there that I can work with, that I can really change and cause a drastic change in my life and how I interact with people, and showing up just with a positive, loving vibe instead of going in getting angry when I'm driving and getting angry with people when I could just be taking a step back or breathing. Um, and as I said, there's a lot of work to do, but I think there is a lot that I can do there, which could really change everything.
This is not the first time that you've explained or communicated that you want to take a step and a second before responding. I know you wrote it down in your manifesto because I remember that. And this is like the third or fourth time maybe that you've said, I want to think before I speak. I want to pause before I do, take some time to sit and, really get into the right state before you react to anything. It's like responding versus reacting, right? So this is like not the first time you've done that. I wonder if there's a way for you to build this habit while it's easy. Because the thing is, when you're in the situation, like we have all these amazing communication tools, all these amazing tools to improve our lives. But when you're in the fight or when you're in the negative state, it is so impossible to actually be like, okay, I'm going to use my tools to respond in the best way. It's impossible to do when you're so heated. You don't even think about it. You're responding in this very primal way. So the best way to do it is to practice what you want while it's easy. So how can you go through your everyday life practicing thinking before you speak or pausing before you do? And I wonder if it's like a practice you can implement in some small area of your life to build the habit. So when it does become a very difficult, challenging conversation, it's like automatic.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a large element of catching it before it happens as well, or catching it when it happens and reframing it, and then eventually it will start coming before it happens. So there's been a couple of examples the last few days since I got back from Italy where I would normally get angry, or I did get angry, or there was, I can't even think off the top of my head, but it's probably something as silly as I'm walking in the streets of London and someone is walking really, really slowly in front of me. And in my head, I'm just like, oh God, this is such a bad person. What are they doing? Actually, I'll give you a really good example. I was walking home from the train station, from the tube station the other day.
Was this when the guy elbowed you?
No, so
Oh.
that was before, but that's another good example actually. But that's a difficult one because in that moment I didn't get angry. I just got upset. I actually just, I got
Yeah.
really sad about it. But no, this was a couple of days ago. I was walking home and there was this guy, there was like a crossing. I don't know what you guys would call a pedestrian crossing.
A crosswalk?
Is that what it's called? Like the black and white
Yeah, we
thing?
call yeah, we call it a crosswalk.
Oh,
What do you
okay.
call it?
We call it a zebra crossing,
A zebra
like a
crossing?
zebra
That's
crossing.
so cute. Yeah. That's really cute. Add that to the list of
Yeah.
differences between the UK US is Hoover, vacuum, zebra crossing, crosswalk.
Yeah, okay. Crosswalk, okay. Anyway, but
Okay.
it wasn't actually a zebra crossing, it was just like a pedestrian crossing, so it had like traffic lights. You call them traffic lights, right?
Yeah.
Stop lights.
Yeah.
Anyway. A light. Yeah, but the red,
Yeah.
orange, green. Okay.
Yeah.
So, but it was like a crossing for pedestrians, and the only reason the light was there was for pedestrians to cross. And there was this huge van that pulled out from nowhere. I didn't even see where it came from. And everyone was looking at it like, what the hell are you doing? And this guy pulled out and he's just parked right in front of the crossing, so no one could cross unless they wanted to walk into the really busy road. And as I approached it, I was just thinking in my head, what an idiot. Like, and I looked at him, I gave him this dirty look, and then I walked round it into the main road, and I tried to safely get to the other side. And then I looked back at the driver, and I said, what an idiot, under my breath. And as I walked away, I heard him say, I'm so sorry, guys, I'm so sorry. And I felt so bad. And in that moment, I was like, that was really mean of me. Like, this guy did not mean to do that. This guy is not evil. He didn't mean to park in front of the crossing like that. He made a mistake. He's human. Humans do that. And I felt really bad about it. So I think it's about catching it after it happens and acknowledging that actually my thought process was in the wrong there. My thought process was negative. I could have just given him love. Instead of hating on him and giving him dirty looks, I could have walked past and gone, I understand. Don't worry about it, brother. That kind of thing. But I just, in that moment, I chose anger and negative emotion. And I don't have to do that. And I think if I keep on catching things like that and acknowledging where I've gone wrong and reframing it afterwards, I think eventually I'll start to change my mindset.
Yeah. Yeah. But I would be really careful about catching it after the fact, because then you're going to get into this cycle where you keep doing it
Yeah,
and
of
having to be like
course.
after, be like, oh shit, I
Yeah,
fucked up.
I don't want to get into that habit. But I think, I mean, when I say after, it's a case of in that moment, I didn't even see it coming, and suddenly I was flushed with this negative emotion, right?
Right.
But then I think what's really important is that I didn't just let that negative emotion linger. Literally a few seconds later, I was like, oh man, I shouldn't react like that. I don't need to react like that. What am I gaining by reacting like that?
Right.
And in an ideal world, I'll catch it before it happens and not even end up giving the guy dirty looks, right? But I think the
Mm-hmm.
important thing is when it does slip through the net, acknowledging afterwards that, wow, that wasn't very nice of me.
Yeah. Yeah, completely. It's something to catch in the moment. Just a couple, just, and it's an accountability partner. How's it going with going to the gym? How's it going with 606? I forget what the other homework was. Did you make a food log?
Yeah, so the food log, I didn't write anything down, but what I really made a very conscious effort to do over the last week, I think I might have spoken to you about this before, was about how much I was eating, and it wasn't the problem of what I was eating. I haven't been having fast food recently. I've been eating reasonably well, but it was about how much, and I was going to restaurants and just ordering huge amounts of food, way more than I needed to eat, and I would eat the whole thing because I was like, I paid for it, I need to eat it, right?
Right.
So over the last week, I've been very conscious to A, not snack during the day, and B, when I have lunch, eat just about enough to fill the void so I'm not feeling hungry anymore. And for the most part, I've done it. I haven't really snacked, very small snacks here and there. And I've been, yeah, eating moderate sized portions. And yes, it's been hard. I've been hungry at times and my stomach's been hurting, my energy levels have been low. But actually, I think it just takes a week or so of feeling that way, and then eventually you get used to it. And I need to get used to
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Have you gone to the gym or moved your body at all, or?
No. So I,
Okay.
so I shouldn't laugh. It's not funny. I went
I
to.
mean, it is funny though. I feel every week I'm like, did you do your homework? And you're like, no.
That makes
Not
it
every
sound
week. Not
so
every
bad.
week.
Every week,
Not every week,
pretty
but
much.
go back and listen and be like, oh shit, she's been bugging me
Well,
about this.
I mean, that's an interesting exercise, and that's a little bit of a problem. And you're right. You're right, and I feel embarrassed by it. I've gone bright red now. um, but no, I do. I feel it's not good, and this is the story of my life, really. To date, is I make commitments and I don't stick to them, even when someone's holding me accountable, clearly. And
Wait, past tense. I made commitments and I didn't stick to them.
yeah, exactly. But
Put it in the past.
yeah, so in terms of moving my body, I played football last night, but that's a regular thing anyway. I do feel like my cardio is really good at the moment. I think that's just following up from the marathon earlier in the year. Like my
Mm.
fitness, my stamina is really strong right now. And I don't get tired. I could play football for hours, and this is intense exercise playing football, especially the type that we play, which is just 10 players, so you're always having to run.
Yeah.
My cardio is really good, but it's everything else that's not. And I think it's the consistency that's not there, and that's why I'm putting on weight instead of losing weight. And so yeah, I need to get to the gym. I really want to start running again because I love running. I really enjoy it, and it's so easy, it's so accessible. With the gym, like I have to get in the car, I have to go. With a run, I
Yeah.
can literally just stick my running shoes on and just go.
Have you ever considered joining a run club?
Yes, I have. And I've been to a couple of run clubs before, earlier this year actually. And they're great. They're great. For the most part, they tend to be super early in the morning, at like 6 a.m., 7 a.m., so before work. And I think that is probably something that would be good for me as well, is helping me get up earlier and consistently, because I have that thing that I have to get up for. I've committed to this run club, I need to get up. So I think that's a really good idea, actually, yeah.
Yeah, a run club would be awesome, especially now that you're not super involved in the Yes Fam community. It'd be another amazing community to join with like-minded people. You're very social. It's accountability. It's a great way to meet people who might align with your values. So I would say find a run club. I'm gonna write it down for your homework. Find a run club, and go to
I've
a
got
run club.
I've actually got a run club, and it's one that I joined, as I said earlier in the year, and I have them on WhatsApp, and they announce what time their run is every day and where it's going to be every day. And I literally get, I mean, there's 6 different group chats they have for different parts of London, because London is huge. And they send these notifications out every single day. So I wake up every morning to 6 notifications from Pure Sport Run Club that I just ignore. So I have the
Mm,
reminder there every day, and I know where it is, I know what time it is, but I just don't go. I just don't do it. So I need to get into the
yeah,
swing of that.
just go once this week.
Yeah,
Yeah, just go once.
yeah,
It's a great
it's
opportunity
doable.
to do that.
It's very doable.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have a very busy week, but the good thing about the run clubs is that they're super early in the morning. So it's, yeah, but I definitely need to get back into that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, and then the 606, it hasn't really happened. Though it happened on Thursday, so I think the day after we spoke, and
Yeah.
that was because I had to be up at 4 a.m. for my flight, so it wasn't technically, but it's another example of when I have to wake up, I do it and I feel fine.
Yeah. See, I just wish it was like the time change was the other way. So I could text you or I could be like, let's get on our call at 6 or 6:15 or 6:30 or
Oh,
something. That way you had to.
that would be good. That
But
would be good.
it would be good,
I mean, my
but it's
girlfriend has
not.
offered, because she wakes up at 6:30 every morning, and she knows because she has to go to work at that time.
Yeah.
And she knows what I'm trying to do with the 606, and she finds it just as ridiculous why I've chosen that specific time. But she knows what I'm trying to do, and she has offered multiple times. She said, "Josh, you're not doing it. Do you want me to start when I wake up at 6:30? The first thing I can do is call you and wake you up." And every time I'm like, "No, no, I don't want, no, don't worry about it."
Let her be an accountability partner.
I know I should. Yeah,
I'm putting that on your list too.
let her wake me up at 6:30.
Just like allow her to be an accountability
Yeah.
partner. She is your partner, she is your romantic partner, and sometimes our romantic partner is can be the best accountability partner because they are the closest person to us.
Hmm.
So sometimes it helps. I think the fact that Paul also isn't drinking helps the fact that I'm not drinking. I think I might have succumbed to peer pressure if Paul didn't drink or if Paul was drinking. You know what
Right.
I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely.
Allow her to be an accountability partner because I think that's going to be your best thing.
I agree. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
100%, 100%. And she's always trying, with alcohol. Like, actually, obviously, I've been consistently trying to stop drinking for a long time now. And she is frequently offered, she said, "Josh, if you're not comfortable with me drinking, if it's going to help you, I won't drink as well. I'll stop drinking." So, she's always, every single goal that I have, she's always trying to find ways she can help me. And I don't allow her. I don't know why. I don't know why. I think it's maybe a shame thing because, as I just discussed, as we just discussed, I feel a little bit ashamed that I set all these goals and set all these habits, and I never, or very rarely stick to them.
In the past.
Have very rarely stuck to them in the past. Just a shift that I need to make. Um,
Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting setting these small benchmarks, these small goals. The big goals you have no problem finishing and getting done. You set a goal to buy a home, you bought a home. Like you have a goal to do this, you do it. But it's these smaller goals that accumulate to big goals that you're not following through on. And I'm not really sure what's stopping you there. If you go back and listen to our episode, how many weeks have I been like, hey, are you waking up at 6:06? Are you going to the gym? Are you moving your body? Are you whatever? And like, you haven't. And I'm just curious what that like friction is.
yeah, I mean, as I said, it's something that I've always struggled with. I think it's just getting the habits going. And once I've done that, I'm on fire. I get it done. Just like with the social media, it took so long to get going and to actually start posting. But now I'm doing it every day, and I'm into that habit now. It's just a key part of my day that I have to do every single day. It's a
Yeah.
non-negotiable. It was the same with the gym when I started going frequently a few months ago, and I was like, I have to go 6 times a week so I can get into the swing of this. I'm going to build the habit. And how long does it take to build a habit? I think it's 21 days, isn't it?
There's so
Or
many different numbers people throw around.
yeah, let's say, yeah, but the one I've always worked with is 21 days, and that's the one that's always worked for me. If I can go 3 consecutive weeks doing something, I will continue to do it.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
that's the difficulty, is just getting started, getting through those first
Yeah.
21 days. And it's the same with addiction, getting through the first 21 days of without drinking, without gambling, without watching porn, like all these different things. It's the hardest time, but when you can break through that barrier, it's much easier.
Yeah. I mean, we've said it time and time again. Getting started is the hardest part of getting any goal accomplished. It's getting started, because once you're in the momentum of doing it, you do it. But it's I want to go to the gym, I want to meditate, I want to blah blah blah. Like, it's that first day. It's scheduling it and making it real. And then once you're in the swing of it, it's easy. It's like brushing your teeth. Like, you just have to do it once you're in the swing of it. So just get started, I'd say. And it's amazing you got started on the social media and now you're in the momentum of it. It's like habit stacking, habit building. So if you want to focus on one, I mean, the physical health one is always something that impacts the rest of everything. So I'd say like the 606 kind of ties into that, because I feel like you'll get up and go for a run in the morning.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
Also for you, that's meditative.
I've said this for the longest time, and you have said this for the longest time. If I can get into the habit of a 606 every single day, or just 6 a.m., whatever it is, I don't have to stick to that stupid. Maybe that's the problem, is it's such a stupid number.
I'll never forget the first time you're like, isn't it such a cool number?
Yeah.
Like, when do you wake up?
Do you know what's even more
6:06.
ridiculous is the first time, I think I might have said this to you before actually, the first time that I wanted to come up with a cool number, because it's like cool to say I wake up at 6:06. Originally my plan was 5:59, so that I could tell people I wake up at 5 a.m.
That's not how that works.
I know. I know.
That's not how that works. Okay, but we did that one time that you tried putting your phone on the other side of the room. It worked.
It did. It did. And I think my failing there is that I've got a new phone, right? I got the new iPhone a month or so ago. The battery life on it is sensational. They weren't lying about the battery life. And I don't work for Apple, and this isn't an ad. But it's really good. And so at night, when I used to have to charge my phone every night, and when I started doing that, leaving my phone on the other side of the room, I would just plug it into my wireless charger on my desk, which is the other side of my room. So I'd have to get up.
Right. Yeah.
Now, I don't have to do that because I'm not charging my phone at night. I'm just leaving it on my bedside table, which I don't need to do that. It's just laziness.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it seems like a very quick fix. Like, the thing that'll stop it is putting your phone on your desk at night.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just doing that, and let's see how that works.
Yeah.
Because when you did, that seemed to work.
It did. Yeah. No, definitely. I know what I need to do in so many areas. I feel like that's almost like my catchphrase at the moment. I've said that so many times. I wish you could do like a search like you can on iMessage, and it can show you how many times you've said a particular word, because I've said I know what I need to do so many times, and I know what I need to do, but I just don't do it.
You didn't do it in the past.
I haven't done it yet.
Yeah, it's done. It's already done. You just have to decide and fucking do it. Like, put your phone on the other side of the room and do it. And the thing is, that is what the point of this podcast is, right? Is for us to hold each other accountable, to be like, what shifts can you make in your life to improve your life? And we work through it together. And I think putting your phone on your desk at night is like the one little thing that's just going to make it like work.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I completely agree. So, okay, there's clear shifts there. I know what my homework is. Very clear and very straightforward, very easy. So I will get it done. I will get it done. Do you know what?
It's done already.
Do you know what? That is a promise. I'm going to get shit done this week, okay?
If you were there, I'd shake your hand, but
Okay, we can fit.
you're not here. Woo! Just flash my Aura ring to everybody.
Is that the one that monitors your sleep?
Yeah.
Nice.
It's the best thing ever. It's awesome.
And how is your sleep? Is it good?
I slept pretty well last night. I slept like a 92 last night.
Wow. Okay. And do you
This
feel
weekend I
that
slept
like
like shit though.
when it says like it's a high score, do you feel that it's you can feel refreshed the next day or
Honestly, well, there are a couple different scores. There's the readiness score and the sleep score and the activity score. So the sleep score, yeah, like I find it's very accurate, and the readiness score too. Like I slept a 92 last night, but my readiness I think was a here I can pull it up. My sleep score last night was a 92, but my readiness is a 79. So I honestly feel that. That's
interesting?
pretty accurate.
Okay.
It's pretty accurate. Yeah, I love it. The Aura Ring has revolutionized my health. This is not a plug. This is not an ad. I just love my Aura Ring. I use it for birth control. It's amazing. It's the one kind of purchase that's revolutionized my health. Actually, the Aura Ring was one of the determining factors that made me decide to stop drinking alcohol, because I realized that every time I had alcohol, my sleep score was shit the next day. Even
Same.
if I had one glass of wine, like that was it. I slept so poorly this weekend because I had my Halloween party, which was fun. It was a good time.
Good.
It was a good time. Not a lot of people didn't show, but it was definitely less than we were
Okay.
anticipating with the people who RSVP'd. It was still a lot of fun. We hung out. It was a good time, and then we ended up going out after and then hanging out with our neighbors. You know our neighbors. We ended up hanging out with them until 3:30 in the morning, and
Nice.
also the clocks changed, so it was actually like 4:30 in the
Oh,
morning.
nice. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think it's good to do that every once in a while, just stay up ridiculously late. Like, I'd say I probably do it like 2, 3 times a year at this point.
Wow.
I
Probably
think that
follow suit.
the last time I did that, I think you were here for Ultra.
Oh, right. Oh, really? Wow. It was back in March.
I can't remember a time between Ultra and now or this past weekend where I stayed up that late. Like, I don't remember a time. So,
Nice. Well, that's good. It's healthy.
it, every once in a while it's good. Yeah, I did keep a food log actually, and what I actually did all of my homework this week. I worked out, I think, almost every day. I didn't work out on the weekends because I was just so slammed, like with the party and everything. We had a guest come to visit, but I worked out every weekday this past week, and I have all my workouts planned. I've gotten back to the gym, which is really good. I've been meditating a bit more. Yesterday, I meditated twice, 2 times.
Wow. Nice.
I
Same
know.
kind of
Like I did my
meditations or
no, I did like a 5 minute in the morning, like with my morning routine. And then I did like a 20 minute after my workout in the sauna. And it was really interesting because I have thoughts during meditation, obviously. Like that's the whole point of meditation, is to just notice the thoughts. But sometimes I find that in meditation, the thoughts that are coming up, like sometimes I can tell when they're stress and they're just, my to-do list is just going on and on. But yesterday in my second meditation, I just kept having these thoughts come to me about my business. Just like random things like, oh, do this or push this till next month, or just very like decisive things about my business. And I was like, okay, if this is coming to me in meditation, then it's coming to me in meditation and I'm going to listen to it. So that was really interesting, but I've done all my done homework that way. So I've been getting to the gym, which has been feeling really good and just back in the swing. Even if I just go and do a quick, like yesterday I did a quick 30-minute lift, like nothing crazy. And then like 20 minutes in the sauna. And I was like, okay, great. The food log, I did keep track. I ate so horribly this weekend. And I did notice actually keeping a food log that on the weekdays, so we talked about weekends are always challenging. Like I always have cheat meals, whatever. And this weekend was particularly bad because of the Halloween party and because we had a guest coming and whatever. What I did notice on the weekdays is that I'm really good all day. And then in the evening, last week particularly, I think it was because it was before Halloween and we just had a bunch of stuff. I was just eating tons of cookies and just in the evenings, I would just eat a lot of sweets. So that's what I've noticed with keeping the food log is in the evenings, the sweets. So this week, and the thing is, I don't mind ever having a little sweet something in the evening after dinner, like if that's a piece of chocolate or whatever. And I'm pretty good typically about portion control, like having one piece. And that's what we did this week with the grocery shopping is I got these like little cake bites and they're like 2 bites each. And like just one of those after dinner is perfect. So that's what I've been doing this week. And this week so far, I've been really good through the days and in the evening, just having that like little thing. And it's like the one little cake bite in the evening is fine.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah.
You know what I
That's
mean?
not
As long as I'm not
gonna
having
destroy your
5.
health. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's fine. So I've been doing really well with that, feeling good, like finally feeling in momentum a little bit with the physical health. So that's on the upswing right now. Career is also on the upswing right now. I know I've been talking about the last couple of weeks. I'm feeling so proud of myself and so happy with the work I'm putting in for my career. So I'm feeling really excited about my first podcast, feeling really excited about this podcast. The work for my first podcast, I'm like finally getting testimonials, which is feeling amazing. And then also, you know, getting better and better at creating the marketing every month, being like, how can I improve this month over month? How can this feel better month over month? And that's feeling really good. And then each month reflecting on, okay, what did I do last month? What can I do this month to improve it? And I feel like I'm finally in a groove there. We are coming into my busy season at my 9-to-5 job starting next week. November 15th through January 15 is the heaviest time for my 9-to-5 job. I work in customer experience. It's around Black Friday and the holidays. So it's a very busy time for me. So all of the work I do for my first podcast, I'm months ahead. So all of the stuff I'm working on right now is coming out in January and February. So I might take, like, for Thanksgiving, I might take a couple days off of doing that podcast because I'm so far ahead with the work. And that's the other thing about this is I'm so far ahead and I give myself so much pressure to finish everything, to do everything perfectly, and to get it all done on the timelines that I set and the deadlines that I set. And then I'm like, wait, but all of the stuff you're working on doesn't come out for months. You're fine. If I wanted to take a month off, I could.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not going to. I might take a couple of days or a week off during the busy season with my 9-to-5 just because things are so crazy and so busy. But for the most part, it's fine. But I've been feeling really good in the career and just like putting the work in and feeling really good there. The other thing I want to note that I've been like wanting to chat about and we forgot. Oh my God, I'm so mad, Josh. I left you a 15-minute voice message on Friday and my phone bugged out. They're like, it's too long to send. I was like, that's bullshit. I've definitely sent 20, 23-minute messages before. So I had to delete it.
Did you record it on the iMessage app or you?
Yeah.
That's so weird. I mean, I've had people send me like 2-hour voice messages on iMessage before. Please never do that. But
I will never do that.
But yeah, I've had that before, so that's rubbish. That's not true. Garbage.
No, yeah. So I think my phone's just bugging out. It's an iPhone 11. It's like a little older. So I'm keeping it until it kicks. But I was really upset about that because there were some things in that message that were just pure gold, you know, though sometimes they are so profound. Sometimes they are so silly. Sometimes they are nonsense. And there are also personal updates about things that we don't talk about on this podcast. But there are a couple things on that on that episode that I wanted to chat about. And the first was I had a crazy manifestation story happen.
Okay.
A crazy manifestation story happened. So we Date with Destiny, the Tony Robbins event. I have never been, and I really wanted to go this year. And I was like, you know what? We have a mutual friend who has a virtual ticket. We were all gonna rent a big house, do a virtual Date with Destiny, and do a little friend retreat where we all do it together. So I wrote down in my 2024 goals, manifestations, whatever, and I think I wrote exactly Date with Destiny virtual retreat. Okay. And I was following up with this friend, like ready to plan it with her. And like, it just didn't work out. And like, that's fine. Like people are busy, whatever. And I was like, okay, fine. It's just not going to happen this year. I'll do it next year. It's fine. I got a message from my roommate in Fiji for the other Tony Robbins event, the Life and Wealth event I went to in January. And she's, hey, I have a free virtual ticket and 2 Plat members that we met are going to host a virtual Date with Destiny retreat at their house. Do you want to come?
No way.
Yeah. So this happened last week. Yeah, this happened last week. And I was feeling very conflicted about it because it's too late for me it's literally my busy season. It's from December 6th through 11 or something. It is my busiest time of year. And if I wanted to take these days off, I needed to do it like months and months ago. It's not feasible for me to take the days right now because it's too late and it is what it is. So I was like, I could do it technically and just work while I'm doing Date with Destiny. But then I was feeling very conflicted because I'm like, Date with Destiny, for any of you who are listening who have not been to a Tony Robbins event, this is like a intensive 6-7 day event, and Tony goes very deep. It is the event that everyone talks about, that if you're going to do one, like UPW is a starter kit, but Date with Destiny is where he goes really deep. I've never done it. I've always wanted to. And I was like, I feel conflicted because I manifested this. I literally wrote this thing down and it came to me in a way I wasn't expecting. I was expecting to do it with our group of friends, and then these random people from across the world invite me to do it with them, and it's in Virginia, and I like totally could go. And I was like, it just doesn't feel fair to me to not be present during this event if I have to work during the event. Like that just doesn't feel like I would get the most out of it. So and also it's during Art Basel, which in Miami is it's when the whole city turns into a party basically for a week straight. And it's not just a party, but it's really excellent networking. It's a really good time to be in Miami. I went last year and I was like, dang, I'm so excited for this year, So I decided to not do the Date with Destiny virtual retreat, but I did manifest exactly what I wrote down, which is crazy.
That is crazy. I mean, literally to the point that, I mean, we were talking about doing kind of a retreat, I mean, last year, like for such a long time. And the fact that didn't materialize and you just let it go. And then this still came up. Manifestation's a crazy thing. Crazy.
It's so crazy. So I'm like, am I doing the wrong thing by not going to this virtual Date with Destiny retreat because I manifested it and because it's divine timing? But then it wasn't a fuck yes in my body. Like it wasn't.
Yeah. Yeah. And if it's not going to work out, it's not going to work out. And the fact that you've manifested it now and the universe has given you this opportunity, it's going to happen again. It's going to happen again.
Yeah.
Would you want to do it next year?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. And I think it doesn't even have to be virtual next year. I think I would just go in person, to be honest.
Oh, I mean, obviously it'd be much better in person.
It's only an hour away from me.
And Date with Destiny, I mean, honestly, I really want to go. I did it when I was 19 and then I've crewed a couple of times since. But I want to attend because I was too young to really appreciate it at the time. I wasn't in the right headspace. It is a life-changing event, and I think you'd absolutely love it.
Yeah, and I don't want to be working during this event. Like I really want to take the time and be very present because I know it's Life and Wealth, which is what I did earlier this year. It was a really intensive event, and I'm really glad I took the time to be fully present in that. And I want to grant myself that opportunity to do that. So it's, even though the universe handed it to me this year, it just was an automatic yes, like I have to do it. It's super exciting that I manifested it, and I do feel a little bummed that I'm missing it, but it just wasn't, it's like it feels aligned to the stars, but also not aligned to the stars,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, no, absolutely.
But I did manifest it.
Yeah, and you definitely don't want to be working alongside it. So it sounds like it's just not the right time, unfortunately, but it's going to happen again. You will get the opportunity.
I think so for sure. And I'll make sure to take the dates for next year. I think I'm going to take the days as soon as the year turns. I can tell my boss, hey, I'm taking off 6 days in December. I know it's my busy time, but I'm giving you a year's notice.
I was about to say that. I think it'd be a really good idea to book that time off and actually take that manifestation to another level. Because then you're making sure that you have to make it work. It's going to happen regardless. It's a non-negotiable at that point.
Yeah, completely. So that's where I'm at with that. And then something else I wanted to chat about, which we've been meaning to talk about for weeks, is the personal growth area of the wheel of life for me. I've been saying to Josh, I'm like, oh my God, don't forget to remind me to tell you. Because there's just things in that area that some crazy things that have been cool and some things that I want to work on next year. I think this year I made a vow to myself to really focus on the career and physical health areas of the wheel of life. And I feel like I've done that. And I feel like I've made amazing strides in these areas this year. Like I launched a business, started a second podcast, feeling really good about my business, feeling great about my 9-to-5, got promoted in my 9-to-5. Like things are feeling great in my career and I've made huge strides. And as far as the physical health goes, I've lost a ton of weight, went back in shape, fit back into my clothes, synced up to my body. Things feel great in that area too. So I spent this year focusing on those two areas. Next year, I know one area I really want to focus on is personal growth. And I finished 11 books. I have one more book to go. to finish my goal of 12 books. I am so close. So 2 months to finish a book. I feel like I can do it. That's a big one. I had a goal, and this is something we could talk about with Katie next week. Oh, speaking of which, guys, we're having a guest next week. Not to spoiler alert, we're having a guest next week. We could talk about it with Katie more, but I have this goal. I had this goal this year to get over my fear of birds and cats. And Katie's cat helped me get over that fear.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know if I think it's really funny that I'm afraid of birds and cats. And the thing is, I was going to get another thing in that area is I wanted to get my rhinoplasty done this year, which is not going to happen, but it's likely going to happen next year. And the person I'd be staying with for my recovery, they're like, "Are you okay with 2 cats?" And I'm like, I guess so. Sure. You know what? I made a commitment to get over my fear, and this is how I'm going to be tested. You want to get the rhinoplasty, bitch? Okay, you got to stay with some cats.
2 in 1, 2 birds with 1 stone. 2 cats with 1 stone.
I know, but 2 cats with 1 stone. How do I get over the fear of birds, though?
That's an interesting one. What, all birds?
Yeah, birds freak me out.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like with anything like that, it's exposure therapy.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah, I think it's the obvious answer. I saw the craziest, you might have seen this before. Actually, no, it's a British thing. This woman who has a fear of Simon Cowell. Have you seen that? Simon Cowell is, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Like
yeah.
America's
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And she is terrified of Simon Cowell. And she went on this talk show in the UK, and there was like a psychotherapist there trying to help her get over it and to give her sort of coping mechanisms. And they were talking through it, and his whole thing was exposure therapy. And then they whip out this kind of like cardboard cutout of Simon Cowell, and she just screams and runs away. And it's real, like it's 100% real. It's so funny. Therapy, I think, for birds, how else can you? I think with most fears, it's about fears like that, where it's like a physical fear. Surely it's about exposure.
Yeah, I think so. I also think maybe for me, learning about birds.
Right. Okay.
Might also help if I get really interested in learning about them and being like, oh, isn't this so cool about this bird?
Yeah. Is it an irrational fear, or is there something about birds that scares you?
I don't know, because the cats make sense. Like as a kid, like a cat attacked me. So the cats make sense why I have that like fear, or why I had in the past that fear. But the birds, I don't think I was ever attacked by a bird or anything. I've always been afraid of birds, like since I was a kid. Yeah. So I'm not sure why, but I always think it's really funny. It's something I don't really talk about a lot with these goals. Like sometimes your goals are really like silly, but like it's something I want to get over. Like it's not that it limits me in my life, but I don't like them.
I think that's a really good idea, is actually learning about them and becoming borderline, not obsessed, but actually understanding why they are the way they are, cool facts about birds, and making it not your thing, but like a little bit of your thing, like a little bit of a party trick. Did you know about this pigeon and that kind of thing?
Yeah, I think that would be really helpful too. And even just with cats in general, that's that. And then there were a couple things with personal growth this year that I really wanted to do. I always have one with learn 3 new skills. And I definitely did learn 3 new skills this year for sure. It just wasn't the 3 that I anticipated that I like wanted to learn. But next year I am committed to, personal growth is where I want to focus my energy. I am committed to learning 3 things. Number 1, I want to learn how to surf. So bad. I want to learn how to surf. Number 2, I want to learn how to DJ. Okay. I think I'd be really good at it. And number 3 is I want to learn Spanish.
Right. Yeah. They're 3 pretty sick goals. 3 pretty sick skills.
Also to note, in the personal growth world right now, I did last week hit 1,000 days of Duolingo on French.
Wow. Congratulations. Nice.
Thank you. Huge accomplishment. And then it's actually interesting because my friend told me this rule that she has. She said if she heard from 3 different people from 3 different sources that she should do something, she does it. And I had that and it's a really great tool. If you hear from 3 different people, 3 different sources that you should do something, you should definitely do it. Even if it just seems out of the blue. And I had that experience last week with French. For anyone who knows me or doesn't know me, I've been studying French since I was young. I think 11. Since I was 11, I've been studying French. I lived in Paris for 4 months. I was semi-fluent at one point. I work for a French company now. It's a very big part of my life. And I had 3 different people last week tell me, you've hit 1,000 days on Duolingo. Like, you should be able to speak. And I feel so shy. Like, people, and I understand French. I can write it. I can read it. But then speaking it, I'm like, blah, 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 blah. Yeah.
No, I completely get it. It's really interesting you say that because I've just had the same experience in Italy. I grew up spending 2-3 months a year in Italy every year for about 15 years, and my Italian is good. I mean, borderline fluent. I understand it completely perfectly. My speaking, it should be fluent. I can speak it. I'm so unconfident, and it is a confidence thing. I mean, because I was just in Italy, of course, last weekend, and I would understand everything people would say to me. I'd go into the restaurant and I'd know exactly what to say to order, to talk to the waiter. But I would open my mouth, having thought about it for the last 5 minutes, trying to process the exact words I was going to say. And then I would say it and it would just come out like gibberish. So unconfident, and it is a confidence thing. No,
It's an
the
absolute
words are
confidence
there.
thing. Yeah, the words are there. I know how to speak this language. I just feel so shy. And it happened 3 times last week. I have a French girlfriend here who was like, she always calls me out. She speaks French. And then it happened. And then another person at my party was like, you should be practicing. And then another one of my neighbors found out I spoke French, and you should be more active in your learning. Like, you should go and speak it. You should watch your favorite TV shows in French. Be more active. And I was like, okay, I've heard it from 3 different people. And that's something I want to look into. So maybe it means like hiring a tutor. Like my high school French teacher, who by the way is not working for my 9 to 5 company, but I set up lessons. So she comes to my company office in New York and teaches them, which is really cute. So I'm like, I wonder if she'd do private lessons and just get on the phone with me once a week for 30 minutes and just talk.
That's all it is. Again, it's different to fears, but exposure to speaking the language. That's the best way to improve with any language. I know some of the people, I spent years learning Spanish at school, but then someone who went out to South America for 1 year when they were in their 20s can speak much better Spanish than me because they were forced to. They were in that environment where they were speaking it every single day. And actually practicing that conversational Spanish or French or Italian, that's how you do it.
Yeah. So the personal growth area is something for sure. Like immersing yourself in the language, really getting to it, because it's that shyness, it's that thing that it's very challenging. But just in general, like I just did a little steamroll into the personal growth area. It's next year an area I really want to focus on. This year, just trying to wrap up that book goal, get things rolling for next year, pick out my DJ deck, start to think about, okay, what trips can I go on where I can actually get surfing, things like that.
Nice. So 11 books, which is the best one? The most influential one you've read?
I think Atomic Habits was really amazing.
I thought you were gonna say that, yeah.
And then also I finished, and maybe this is because these are the most 2 recent books I finished, but I also read Pussy, A Reclamation this year, and that was really also amazing for feminine energy and what it means to be a woman and just tapping into that. I'm trying to think of any other books I finished this year. It was 11 books. I think 4 of them were novels. So that it was like the ACOTAR series. So like, whatever. Yeah, those. I'm like looking at my books right now to remember. I just listed those books because those are the 2 I remember. I take notes on my books too. That's the other thing, is like I go back and take notes.
Yeah.
I really should review those. How is it that I only remember like the last 2 books I finished?
Because those were the last 2, were they? Okay. I was going to say because they stuck with you clearly, but yeah.
No, I think those were just the last 2. I read U Squared was my first book, but that was like not a huge book. It was about like quantum leaps. Wow, this is really going to bother me. Okay.
Sorry, I didn't mean to
Next
put you
week,
on the spot.
no, you're good. Next week, I'm going to come back with my book list, maybe. Okay, well, we have a guest next week, but maybe not next week. But at some point, end of the year, we'll get together and we'll chat about a goal roundup, what happened. I have my whole book list in there, so we can chat about Sasha's book recommendations for sure. But that's that. I don't even know what my homework is for this week. I guess I don't know. Oh, I didn't even mention I'm setting up another alternative revenue stream today.
Okay, which is?
I think I told you about the digital product, right?
That's right.
That I was.
Yeah.
Okay, so I finished making the digital product last night while we were listening to the country collapse. Yeah, and I finished that today. And today I'm just gonna put it up and get it going.
Okay, nice. That's exciting. That's very exciting.
Yeah. So lots of stuff happening. I think just for me, continuing on with the momentum.
Yeah, it sounds like you're doing a lot of the right things at the moment.
I think so. Anyway, wow. We have an exciting guest next week. I'm really excited.
Yeah, me too. I haven't spoken to her in much longer than I'd spoken to Mary as well. So it'd be really nice to speak, to catch up. And
yeah, I just went to go visit our guest coming next week. I mean, we've already name dropped her, but I went to go visit her in June. So I went to go visit her in June, and then I think she was here for one night in February, and then I saw her last September for her wedding. So but we do chat every once in a while. Like she's got a picture on my fridge, which I'm very upset that you don't have a picture of my fridge, but we'll get one.
Well, whose fault is that?
Excuse
parties,
me.
Doesn't have me on the fridge.
I don't understand why we don't have any pictures together.
I know. Do you know what? I think the only photo I can think of that we have together is, I mean, there's group photos, but there's also, you know the one I'm talking about.
There are two pictures of us. There's one from Ultra, and then there's one.
Well,
yeah, there's one from Ultra, and then there is one that we have 3 pictures together. Okay, I'll send them to you if I can find them. One from Ultra, one from 20, and I think the other 2 we have are from 2018, and both times we were stupid drunk. Oh, both of them were. Okay. I think you could tell in both of them were stupid drunk. There's one in that Airbnb, and then there's one at Adam's place.
Adam's place? Is that the group photo?
No, there was a selfie of you and me, and there's a selfie of you and me, and like we were drunk then too. That was that night that we went to heaven, and those people got stabbed on that bridge. Do you remember?
Oh my God, yeah. Well, yeah, because there's a big group photo that night.
Yeah.
And that's
No, there's a selfie of us.
Oh, okay. I don't know that one then.
But I know the other photo you're talking about because that was from that Airbnb.
Yeah.
That party we went to.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, we have not taken a photo together, not under the influence.
God, that's concerning. Is that our friendship? Is that all it is?
The crazy part is our friendship's quite literally the opposite of that.
That's so fun. It's not representative at all.
I feel like the next time we get together, though, we're going to have to take a full-ass photo shoot, though, for this podcast.
Yeah, because we don't have anything. Yeah.
We don't have anything at all. We don't have any photos together, which is so funny to me. Yeah, but it's so funny. Okay, regardless. We'll see you guys next week. Thanks for listening. We love you guys. If you're a woman out there, we support you, and we love you, and we're sorry that you're being treated like a second-class citizen. Not to end on a sour note, but it is pretty relevant right now.
Yeah, definitely. It's something that has to be mentioned.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. Bye, guys.
Bye.
We hope you enjoyed this episode.
Don't forget to subscribe, leave us a review, and follow along on social media.
If you would like us to help you mastermind something in your life, please send us a message.
We'll see you next week on the Mastermind Moments podcast.